With me now is retired Royal Canadian Air Force General and former Chief of Defence Staff, Tom Lawson. Mr. Lawson, sir, welcome. Thank you for being here. Prime Minister Mark Carney coming out in support of these strikes, but also not planning on involving Canadian military. What might Canada's role be?
Well, I think that Canada's role here is going to be very limited, and I think that's what allows the Prime Minister to come out in full support of the American action. But I think it brings up a bigger point, and that is with the Americans not really interested in gathering the support from their world allies that they would have in past military ventures. All of the risk lands with the president in this case. In fact, he hasn't even shared it with Congress. So it all rests on the Prime Minister's plate, but so does any potential positive outcome.
What legality do the U.S. and Israel have in these attacks?
Well, I think the bigger question is who would be against the attacks against Iran. And, I'm a former military officer, as you said. So there's very little sympathy from someone like me for any country that has been the author of so much grief, horror, and havoc in the Middle East and around the world. But even if you aren't military in background, the Iranian regime has been the author of all of these terrible things for about 50 years, and they are now largely without any friends around the world. They have interests, those who would wish them well, Russians, Chinese, North Koreans perhaps, but only for their own purposes. So Iran is isolated and without any sort of allies. So in this case, I think what happens in Iran, really there's no question legally that anyone will bring up.
Okay. From a military standpoint, what does this operation tell you about U.S. and Israel's military coordination?
Well, I think it's very strong. Speculations are that the Israelis are going after human targets to target the regime largely based on their intelligence, while the Americans poke away at strategic military targets and try and lessen what's going on on the ground in Iran. So I think, however, the calculus in Israel is that anything that happens here will be better for them than what would have previously been the case, where for the Americans, there's a lot more at risk, them having aircraft carriers, a lot of troops at bases around the area. There are a lot of places that Iran, if they're able to get their military capabilities together, could punch American capabilities.
How might this conflict evolve over the coming days?
Well, I think we're going to see that it's a longer one than the in and out against the nuclear targets that we saw back in June. I think that there's a hope, certainly from the American side, that some Mandela-type character that we don't know of emerges from amongst the Iranian people to take charge. That's probably pretty unlikely. I think what will happen is that as the regime tries to steady itself under heavy attack, there may be a turning point at which the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps takes control before anyone else does, and then all bets are off. It's unclear if this would be a preferential situation than that with Khamenei and Pezeshkian in charge as is right now.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time, sir. That's retired Royal Canadian Air Force General and former Chief of Defence Staff, Tom Lawson.